You're listening to Michael McCartney.
I don't know who he is, but I hate him.
He's the biggest blabbermouth in town.
Where you posed against the doorway, just like John Severance, I was headed down the hard way, desperate for deliverance. Now I could get through anything I ever tried to do. No matter what I tell myself, my mind is set on you. It's a fatal attraction, a piece of the action. My beautiful assassin, a piece of the action. I was reckless beyond reason. I set adrift my innocence, jettisoned salvation, and cast away my common sense. Now I can't get through anything I set my mind to do. No matter how I concentrate, there's no escaping you. It's a fatal attraction, a piece of the action, an overdose of passion, a piece of the action, making my life miserable and sweet. Dizzy as the company we keep, but you're more than another distraction, and I'm just one hit away from satisfaction. It's a fatal attraction, a piece of the action. My sinister assassin, a piece of the action. It's a fatal attraction, a piece of the action, an overdose of passion, a piece of the action. It's a fatal attraction, a piece of the action. I've only seen that action, a piece of the action. It's a fatal attraction, a piece of the action.
Brand new music from Dave Caruso here on the Time Machine. That's off his latest release titled Radiophonic Supersonic. Just flows right off the mouth there. That song is titled A Piece of the Action, and it's been quite some time since Dave's been on the broadcast with us. So what the heck, let's check in with him now. Aloha, Dave, how you doing?
Aloha, Michael. What's going on over there?
Quite a bit. You're here in our last hour of our broadcast, so that's very cool of you to take the time to do this. How was your Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving was wonderful here. How about what do you guys do in Hawaii for Thanksgiving?
Eat to our heart's content and then pass out.
Beautiful.
Turkey, ham, pumpkin pie, stuffing with raisins, my favorite, cranberry sauce, the usual.
The good stuff.
I remember the last time you were on with us earlier this year when Eddie Finley was our radio guest disc jockey and he was playing your music, and that was a blast to have you be a part of those shows.
Eddie's a good egg.
He certainly is. Now, for you, how long have you been working on Radiophonic Supersonic?
Oh, almost a year, not quite. I write songs all the time, but you get to a tipping point where you know that you're starting to be ready to record. So I was working on Indelible and The Boy Wonders, both from this album. I had other tunes in the pocket, already. And then these reached a point where I could go to the studio and I could start to figure out how they were supposed to sound and see if I could find those tools in my production toolbox. And they started to shape up. And once I knew I had those two, I knew I could handle the other ones because they were the most complex as far as arrangement-wise.
Now, with the song we just played, A Piece of the Action, what inspired that?
Well, it starts out with a reference to Joan Severance, which has been a very successful name drop because people are always saying, "Who's that?" And she's a
wise guy. Come on.
Yeah, I mean that. I mean, everyone's been saying that. She's a statuesque brunette with hazel eyes who was in a lot of B movies and
wise guy.
And wise guy as well. Oh, that's what you meant, wise guy. Sorry.
Yeah, you thought I was calling you a wise guy. No,
exactly.
No, she actually used to be a catalog model as well. So it's kind of like
correct.
I had seen her wearing all these dresses and going through catalogs, and then suddenly seeing her acting opposite Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
She and Spacey played the villains in a story arc on Wise Guy, where they portrayed brother and sister, Mel and Susan Prophet. A very memorable performance. And I remember seeing her in 1989 on the big screen in 2 movies, See No Evil, Hear No Evil with Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor, and No Holds Barred. That's great. I love that you were able to work that into the lyrics.
Well, the purpose of her being there isn't just to drop over my name, but I wanted to be the first to say her name, because there's a lot of people who write songs about like Uma Thurman or whoever it is, but I don't think anybody's ever done one about her. And certain women, for young boys and men,
careful
are part of their growing up. And she was in a lot of B movies. She was in a lot of movies that were meant to be sexy and coming of age type for us anyway. And so the song's about being distracted. The original title was My Little Distraction. And it's about being distracted by that kind of activity, the activity of, being aroused, right? Just thinking about sex all the time, which, happens when you're young.
Oh, we're so set for this afternoon. We are just... And actually, this kind of transitions into this completely different song, Throwing Out My Baby with the Bassinet. Now, how did you come up with this? I love the arrangement.
Thank you. Well, first of all, obviously, it's a tribute to Throwing Out the Baby with the Bathwater. I came up with that bassinet instead and thought, well, what if I say throwing out my baby instead of the baby, because people call their significant other my baby. And then what if I threw her out for no good reason? What if I'm the jerk? What if I can't even name one thing she did that was bad, but she's driving me crazy? And then I had this line in my journal about, there's an old song, Wash That Man Right Out of My Hair. I came up with the idea that you'd need a depilatory to wash her out of your hair, because that's how bad it is. The worst thing she did was leave her stuff laying around, her clothes laying around on the chair and stuff. So I thought it would be fun to write that. And then from there, I thought of it like a Warner Brothers cartoon with sort of a Nashville beat, Nashville idea. And so I got a typewriter ding sample, and I used that. I made it sound like an anvil falling on the low keys of a piano at one point. Just tried to fit in, like I say, Warner Brothers sound to it. And that's where that came from.
Well, let's take a listen to it right now. And actually, before I press play, I got to get this out of my system. I got to wash that man right out of my hair. All right, there we go. Done.
There you go.
Our musical guest, Dave Caruso, throwing out my baby with the bassinet.
The Time Machine.
Ever since last February, baby's been on a tear, leaving her unmentioned and of course hanging everywhere. I've long forgotten why I thought we made a perfect pair. Depilatories ain't enough to wash her out of my hair, so I'm throwing out my baby with the bassinet, soaking wet, the girl I can't forget. And yet I'm throwing out my baby with the bassinet. Oh, there's just no room for baby in my self-respect. She's 55 with stop signs and a promise that depends, an empty street with red lights and a shortcut of dead ends. She's a roadside pointing nowhere in a town where no one goes. Peel your eyes and hold the phone, you'll be the first to know that I'm throwing out my baby with the bassinet, soaking wet, the girl I can't forget. And yet I'm throwing out my baby with the bassinet. Oh, there's just no room for baby in my self-respect. The consequence of my inaction triggered these events. I can't accomplish anything by sitting on a fence. The suspense is almost killing me, the pressure is immense. Even with the best solution, it all hangs on execution. Throwing out my baby with the bassinet, soaking wet, the girl I can't forget. And yet I'm throwing out my baby with the bassinet. There's just no room for baby, no if, no but, no maybe. There's just no room for baby in my self-respect. The plan is set, there's no time left, just press eject, that's all you get.
Oh, that song is so awesome. Dave Caruso, throwing out my baby with a bassinet. Got one more song I'd like to play off the new album, Radiophonic Supersonic. Now, this album was released just yesterday?
Just yesterday. You are fast on the draw here.
Wow, so wait a minute. The last 2 songs we played, Did they just make their world broadcast debut?
They absolutely did.
Well, son of a gun. That makes the next one same deal then.
All right.
And that song, and I'm really curious what influenced it, is The Drop.
Oh, good. The Drop. Well, I can tell you where I sort of stole the main riff from something else. It's different enough that I don't think anybody would ever say it's a cop. But the song was from Dog's Day View, their only hit that I know of. It's called Everything Falls Apart, and that starts with a riff in the key of E. And I changed a few of the chords after the E, but the way the E drops down, that's the part that's familiar. And then I put in a flatted 7/9 chord at the turnaround. So it's a nice little riff there.
Well, let's get ready to play it right now, making its world broadcast debut from Dave Caruso. The album is Radiophonic Supersonic. The song's titled The Drop. The album is available at all digital platforms online.
Yeah, it's going to be on Spotify very shortly, but right now it's Bandcamp for sure, DaveCarusoMusic.com, and Apple Music has it, and it's making its way to the other distributors as we speak.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us last minute today. I know you're a very busy guy. Have you been getting any cool reactions so far to the album in just the last 24 hours?
Everybody's been so wonderful about it, and I'm getting a kick out of it. Thank you.
You're so very welcome. Let's take a listen to it right now. Much aloha to you, Dave.
Well, mahalo, Michael, and Neli Kaliki Maka.
Piece of cake, staying happy in the honeymoon phase. The tricky bit is sticking with it when mistakes are raised. Sometimes it takes a lot, but it seems like it's worth a shot. Giving it all you got when you're up against the clock. Second stage, carried over from your dance hall days. Can you make it hold a candle to your first embrace? Sometimes the going's hard, and it seems like the longest shot. Catching yourself off guard in matters of the heart. Better hang on when you start to worry something could go wrong. The falling part is easy, but the drop is long. Now you found you might be moving over solid ground. Stick around, you won't get dizzy if you don't look down. Sometimes it takes a lot, but it seems like it's worth a shot. Giving it all you got when you're running on the spot. Better hang on when you start to worry something could go wrong. The falling part is easy, but the drop is long. Sometimes the going's hard, and it seems like the longest shot. Catching yourself off guard in matters of the heart. Better hang on when you start to worry something could go wrong. The falling part is easy. The falling part is easy. The falling sure is easy, but the drop is long. So long. You're listening to the Time Machine.